Brilliant. Okay, so if we just move on to point 4. So, summary of England Bowls guidance for fundraising contacts. Easy fundraising in association with Bowls England. I believe that there's a funding program out there at the moment where clubs can register for fundraising if they use their card online, stuff like Waitrose, Morrison's, and they get a percentage back to them.
That's right. I think also if you go to you were doing a youth, if you were to ends of the age spectrum. So, for example, there's a carers week, where people are supported. You know, the little blue discs that they have at Waitrose and Tesco and everything? You could actually apply for a youth program with that, or you could apply for medical group, and they will give you money back. You just need to phone them up and register with them. So that's quite a nice one. But there is on the website. I'll make sure it's up. There are actually processes for fundraising, and it's 2 pages of A4 on examples of where you can go. But I think Dawn Slaughter contacted me with the Tesco scheme, and I think that's a scheme that's worthwhile considering because you'll see local scout groups, you'll see local schools and things like that. Why can't Bowls do it?
How long do you know how long this possible scheme has been going on in terms of the points money back towards your club, the easy fundraising scheme? Because I know that I mentioned it to my club at Broomfield and we signed up for it.
Excellent, well done. I don't know how long it's been going on for. As I said, fundraising was not really one of my main concerns, but I think it's all tied up with cost and time, isn't it? And support. So I think that's where I got dragged into it a little bit. But it just makes absolute sense. So for me, it's become a beast that's got joined up bits, really. So yeah.
Is there a way of actually for us producing that onto either the Facebook page or the county website page for the listeners and the clubs to actually look at the steps that they could follow for the easy fundraising schemes?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, the 2 pages didn't include Tesco and stuff, it included Bowls England. I thought that was already up. I'll have a look. And the Tesco scheme, I haven't gone down that route, but it makes absolute sense to me. At Spring Hallows, at the SEN school, we've asked them to write a letter of support in terms of how it's changed some of the kids' lives, in terms of some people have spoke for the first time, as I said, confidence, enjoyment, tackling something new, because quite often they're failed in sport, because they're not team players. So for me, getting letters of support is also very important. So rules, Spring Hallows, what Brentham are doing, they've now got, I think, a group, I think Muslim Women's Society group that's out asked if they could join like an associate membership scheme as well. So once you get that background, I think it'll start to railroad. So really, we're using Brentham as an exemplar of what you can do by taking it steady and within your abilities. The other group, which is frustrating, is the medical aspects. So for me, we're looking at the other end of the scale, but we're not looking at 60 plus. We're looking at 35, 40 plus, and that's the diabetes 2 groups. Um, and for me, their target is 40-year-old groups who are Asian and Afro-Caribbean, and they are the largest group with diabetes 2 at the moment. So that's my kind of physio medical head on. We have tried to approach the health and wellbeing programs. To be quite honest, it's just been so frustrating. They don't respond, etc., etc. So I think the way to go there, and I produced that in my report, is to promote the 5 key elements that you could sell the program for. So they're talking about doing exercise in a hall or in a library. And I'm saying, well, you've actually got a sport that ticks all your boxes in terms of low impact exercise. We're looking at fitness, coordination, and confidence. Mental well-being, that is a big one in terms of mental health and depression, and self-esteem. Social connection, it's regular, you build up friendship groups, you look after each other. And that's the thing about children. Having 1 or 2 kids coming along is not going to give you a solid base. Kids, want to be a group. So if you can get 5 or 6 coming down, you're more likely to keep them. Someone who's coming on their own, which is where I think Egham have been very successful. And the other one is stress reduction. and lifelong enjoyment. So for me, what I've suggested is rather than me having had this meeting with the Ealing group, and because I'm a professor of sport and exercise medicine, I just said to them, the clubs are offering everything to you. All you have to do is take these leaflets and promote it. I mean, it's simple as that. And there is financial money available, but I haven't cracked that box yet, and I want to because it's just common sense. And that research, dare I say it, comes from the Australian Institute of Sports, which as an ex-international hockey player was hard to take. But it's all there. So I've said to people, what I need you to do is produce the leaflets. I've given guidance on that. Produce the medical evidence from the Australian Institute of Sport and promote, go to your local surgeries and promote from there. I think that's a more effective way. And I know some people have done it, but to go to the big groups, they just don't seem to react. Frustrating.
I think there's a lot of bowlers who actually take the game up, a lot later in life
Yes.
when they've sort of given up other sports or can't participate in football or
Yep.
golf maybe, and they've always said, "Well, I wish I took up bowls a lot early."
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm an example of that.
I I just think it's a target area that I definitely think that we need to sort of reach out to, for men, and women as well.
I totally agree.
I really hope that we can approach that area over the next, sort of 5 to 6 years because they are the bread and butter of the club going forward. So I really hope that we can get that involvement and that age group up over definitely the next 2 to 3 years.
I think you're looking at the 35 to 40 group who
Yeah.
have got really good hand-eye coordination. You don't need to teach them sport. You don't need to teach them pressure. And, I didn't even know bowls existed. And I've been a mile down the road at St. Mary's we're gonna go in September and set up a group to promote that, to say, "Come and play bowls on a Wednesday afternoon," if you're not playing rugby or whatever. So for me, local university groups, what's wrong with that? You know, so either the 20-year-olds who are not playing sport or only playing sport for part of the year, like the cricketers, they're not playing sport during the winter. So why not encourage student populations? I know Loughborough, they actually have student groups. So I know, a lot of the England rugby students actually had already played bowls. And I know Ben Ryan, who coached England Sevens for a number of years and then went to Fiji, he wants to bring the French team over to play bowls. So, contacting, teams to say if you want an away day to do something different, which is always important when you're on tour or you've got time to kill. I think is another opportunity of promoting it. But yeah, there's a lot to do, but there's opportunity, isn't there?
Yes. So if we just move on to step 5, so we've got the benefits of the EBS affiliation.
Yeah, I mean that's again we produced a document on that, which is what do I get for my money? And I
Sorry,
spent
what is the EBS stand for?
English but EBS. When was that? We I produced that 2.5 Jackie produced that, didn't she?
I'm just going what's off the website. So it just says in here, the benefits of the EBS.
England Bowl Support. I think that's what we meant. I think it was just an acronym. Yeah, I mean, that was the very first thing I had to do was to go to clubs who were not members and try and say you need to join Middlesex for all sorts of reasons. And I remember one club, and this was when I realised that to take a slightly different approach. I went to one club north of Harrow and met with their board and talks about the benefits, which is a document. And again, that's all been done. It's about 4 or 5 pages. So I'll send that to you. I'll find it and send it to you. And it was on the website for a while. And when I went through it, one of the comments was, well, we don't want youth running up and down and destroying our green. The second one was, we haven't got enough zeros. And the third one was, we're not teachers, so we can't go into schools. That. See, if you're not qualified and you're not a qualified teacher and you're not a qualified coach, a school will be very wary of you walking into their place to bring them off site. And I just remember talking to them about this, and this is when everything was negative. We've tried it, we've tried it, we've done it, we've done it. And I came out feeling very frustrated. And as I came out, there were 16 kids, all the age of 14, 15, 16, playing cricket, literally outside the club. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And they were self-organized. They were, they were quite good players, actually. I remember walking up to them. I called them together. I said, "Hey, hi guys. Do you know anything about bowls?" "So they won't let us in." I said, "What do you mean they won't let you in?" They said, "Oh, it's for old people." I said, "No, it isn't." I said, "Well, what if I organise something where you and your mates can come and have a go at it?" And they go, "Oh, yeah, please." That was literally outside the club. And when I went back into the club and I said, "Do you not realise these kids would love to come and have a go at bowls?" The main problem was no one was qualified. Insurance was to do with the council. And because they weren't qualified, there was no they were anti-DBS, anti-safeguarding. And you're sort of saying, well, the benefits of affiliation is that we will support you. We will absolutely support you. So I will drive up and oversee it with a couple of qualified coaches. We will make it happen for you. And it was still a problem. So for me, having gone through the benefits of affiliation, which they only see as, well, we've got no one who plays for the county, why should we bother? In terms of saving your club and expanding your numbers, just didn't seem to hit with them. And that was very frustrating. That was the first club I went to. And I thought, gosh, I've got a job to do here.
So in relation to that question, so we obviously to become a member of to affiliate to Bowls Middlesex, obviously there is a fee that's involved per
Yeah.
capita per player.
Yeah.
Now, I get that some clubs feel a little bit offended that they have to pay X amount of pounds to Bowls England because that is coming out of their sort of funding through the year, and especially with the way that the cost is now of maintaining bowling greens outdoors. Do you think that there is certain clubs that are playing that aren't affiliated in
Yes.
Middlesex? Okay,
Yes.
so my question to that, okay, and I'm a little bit annoyed by that because if they're allowed to play bowls, how do we know what is going on at those clubs? I.e., in terms of safeguarding issues, if somebody unfortunately fell over and had a fall,
Absolutely.
would they be insured?
No.
So, what are we actually doing as a county to make sure that they are affiliating?
I know that we write to them individual. Tony Waller's doing a great job on that. So for me, when they say, "What's the benefit of Middlesex?" I said, "I've just turned up here and given you half a day. I'm not getting paid for it." And for me, for them to actually say that to me, and I produced the documentation, offered. For me, Tony's onto it. As far as I'm concerned, they are insured. That, you're always gonna have people in that walk of life who are gonna try and get away with it. And we're not talking about a lot of money here. I mean, what is it now? Is it 10, 15 quid?
I'm not too sure if it's £5 per player outdoors.
But isn't there one for Middlesex and one for Bowls, England Bowls?
I I'll be, totally honest, I don't actually know what the
It's not a lot of
affiliation is.
money if you
Right,
think.
right.
So, for example, disciplinary, okay? So if you've got a problem with your club,
Yeah.
and we have had them, where people behave badly, then it can go to Middlesex, and then ultimately, following 9 point B, I think it is, it'll go ultimately to Bowls England, and they cover all the solicitors' costs and stuff like that. So, they are operating like a little club without any legal obligations, I would suggest. So for me, how can they be insured if they're not a member of an association that oversees them? Are you with me?
I totally agree with you, and, I go back into a little bit with football, and if I was to create a football team now, I would have to join my local county, and that would be Middlesex, could be London, could be
Yeah.
Essex, and without me actually joining that association, I wouldn't be allowed to play football.
Absolutely. And from my physio point of view, you're not insured. So if you break
Exactly.
your leg,
Yeah.
if you look at a break now, I think it's about 40 grand if you fracture your hip.
Which then goes back into we then go back into what we call, the safeguarding, the insurance, teams
Yeah,
playing bowls.
absolutely.
They're not actually under our banner, which is a real shame. And there is lots of benefits for clubs to actually join, and as long as they feel that the county are giving them the support that they need, then they should join. But it's a little bit of a separate issue. And I know that Tony is working on that. So hopefully we will get a few more, which will then lead them to actually play into more county competitions. I know the county competitions are up this year, but they're
Yes.
up in certain areas.
Yeah.
I think the age group of certain players have gone up, and they're able to play in a sort of different competition this year. Um, so the competitions are definitely raising. So it's interesting. Whereas you have other associations that run local competitions. I'm not going to name any of them, but they're able to play in them without actually not being a member of Middlesex.
I think that's totally legally wrong,
Right.
and it's as simple as that. You wouldn't be able to run a youth club without someone overseeing your policy and procedures. Why should Middlesex be any different? And to me, safeguarding is not just about kids, it's also about the elderly, it's about the vulnerable. You've got no way out of this at all. Absolutely no way. Not even a question. In terms of
It's just
help at Middlesex, oh, I think Middlesex as a committee, sorry, I think is trying really hard.
yes.
And I think it's, as I say, I've only been in bowls, 7 years, and I've seen a massive change from you have to play for 10 years before you'll even be considered to play for the county. We've seen big movements of younger people coming from one club from another county to our county, which is to the benefit of Middlesex. And for me, we just have to keep going. I go to these meetings, spring meeting and the AGM, and there's a lot of people there, and that is a sign of health. It's a sign of honesty and positivity. And for me, that we've now got a safeguarding officer, we've now got someone on disciplinary, we've got a yearbook that I can read with colours. People are working hard. We've obviously got online system. So I think we need to just look at how Middlesex is evolving, how it's developing. Is it listening? I think it is. Would we like to go faster? Yes. But when you think this is all voluntary, I'm very excited about the future of Middlesex.
So in terms of your future, what do you actually see in the next 3 to 4 years? What is the actual plan within, what we're trying to achieve overall?
I think number one with the youth, I want to see the Amy Rose, all those things expanded. So I want to see a larger youth base. So I would like to see, as you said, a centre of excellence that's based in the middle or of the county, where, or even if it rotates north, middle, south, where once a month throughout the year we have coaching going on. I would like to see increase in numbers in terms of participation, and that's not just increase at the over 60 age. I'm talking about the 30 to 40-year age. I'd like to see that because I think they're the people. I mean, I retired from international hockey when I was 34, and I only came to bowls because I was rejected by my cousin who said that I hadn't got the right gear to play because I was just in shorts and a t-shirt, and got very frustrated that it was the first sport I'd been rejected from. And it was only just through good fortune that I happened to play hockey with Dawn Slaughter, and the connections happened, and I was invited down to play, and that was the end of that story. So it's just, so for me, I would like to see us promote. We're starting to do it. My son's been involved in redesigning the kits so that we don't look like ice cream salespeople, that we can play in shorts and a shirt so we look like sports people. I think the image is important, that we don't have this old white image, and some people are unhappy about that, and I appreciate it, but I want us to look like a sport, and I want us to be recognized as a sport for all, and I think we should sell that harder. I would like more coaches. I would like a structure, which you've just mentioned, where we've got a clear structure in the county. I think is it Ollie who's just gone to Essex, I think? So for me, why have we lost him? Or is it because he's moved? Whatever the reasons are, but Ollie could be contributing to the future of Middlesex because Middlesex is given to him. And his parents seem very positive, and I've spoken to him a few times and I'm absolutely delighted for him. So for me, involving the youth in the development of the youth is important.
I mean, eh, the one thing that I see as there being a little bit of a barrier, I look at this quite a lot and I find it problematic, is most probably the better word. So if we target 3 or 4 or 6 different schools in a local borough, let's just say Haringey, who is very underprivileged, I don't think we need to have bowls buddies. I think, me being a football coach, I think tennis balls, cones and bibs, you're teaching them the fundamental skills of delivering a bowl. I think when we look at sort of the Haringey area, there is no club for them to play at because I think we have Finsbury Park and that's it in Haringey. Whereas we used to have at least minimum 12, 13 bowling greens. I now look at this and I say to myself, right, if we were to use the lawns as the centre of excellence during the summer or the winter, how would we get those players playing at different clubs because of the area, getting the movement? And I think ideally outdoors, the footfall isn't as great as what it is indoors. And especially with the David Lloyd Centre at the Lawns, they have a tremendous footfall that comes through. And I think that that is something that we need to really engage with on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning as a county and get them learning the game. And we could also, I feel, use Century a lot more because it's very central. But I think it's just for me getting the players in at the Pacific area that we're going to target and how clubs approach it. And that's what we talk about, which is a lot of the shirts, the colouring. Are clubs going to be engaging? Are they going to be willing to put the time in, etc.?
It's your big problem, isn't it? That's your big problem.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I coached Orleans Park, which is up the road, and the first 3 sessions I did in the school, I wouldn't have used Bowls Buddy then, I didn't know it existed. We do have a set that we have a set north, middle, and south now that we can move around. However, I used hockey balls, took some jacks down, used bean bags to teach the basics of scoring,
Yes.
et cetera, and delivery. So, yes, I agree with you, but that's Bowls Buddies does not work indoors. There's no question about that, particularly with secondary school kids because they're just gone forever. So we use the AstroTurf, but if it's sand-based, you're in trouble. So yes, I totally agree with you. You don't have to have this specialist kit. The idea of a group of schools coming together to a centre, I think it's, yeah, absolutely. Totally agree.
Just hope that over the next sort of couple of months, 3 months, that we can sort of sit down, we could all
Yeah,
come up with a plan, get
yeah.
lots of different people involved. And I think if we talk and put an action plan into place, I think it will really work because I feel so strongly about trying to get the youngsters in. My son has just started to play bowls. He's 11 and he's enjoying it. He's using the bowls buddies, but I don't think that they're really appropriate for him. So it's
I
about a
think they're
case
good
of
to get it going.
yes,
They're good to get it going safely. Remember, we're talking about safety
yeah,
here.
yeah. But I
However,
think he's
once
gone
you got
past
kids
that
who want
stage.
sorry.
He's gone past that stage already where
Exactly.
he
Then you
you
need to
know
move 'em on, which is what we're
yeah,
doing now.
yeah. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
and
No,
I
I
I
agree
think
with you totally.
it's really important that if we can all get together and really come up with a good structured plan, and then we can sort of hopefully look at it, send it out to clubs, get the clubs' involvement, get their feedback, what they want. I think it would be really beneficial.
Yeah. Well, we've got a 7 lesson plan
Okay,
which Scott designed last year, and
okay.
we've run it through this year, but as I say, we've moved them now on to zeros and double zeros,
Yeah.
and we're using bumper mats just in case because we make one mistake and people are gonna come down on us, which is fair enough. Greens are expensive. But
Yes.
yes, I totally agree with you, but I think the summer camps are the answer, um,
Okay.
in which case you would not be using Bowls Buddy at all. You're just using it to sell the sport, I think,
Yeah.
with its
Yeah.
colours and a circus. But I
Yeah.
think once the kids want to play, you have to move on very quickly, but they understand the basics of the game and just go from there. But yeah, no, I totally agree with you. But yeah,
But
we've given
also,
that.
I think one big part of the game, I mean, I just put an article on, onto the Facebook page. Stealing had in the '70s, they had, an influx of lots of youngsters playing, and the equipment was £20. Now, if you look at the equipment, you're looking at £400 for a set of bowls, £400 for a set, two £80 for a set of shoes, then you've got your club shirt. It's not a cheap sport, unfortunately, anymore.
Well, my answer to that, this is my cunning plan. I don't
Okay,
think Ealing are going to use the 51,900 that we got.
okay.
Sorry, 50,900 that we got. Two of the clubs have said they don't want to get involved. So I was thinking with that extra money, we could buy a set of bowls that relate to age groups. In that, a child, an 11-year-old will want certain bowls one year, but not the next.
Yeah.
And that they just hire them for a tenner a year or something like that. So we use that money to buy a set of bowls, north, middle, and south, because we have to give the money back if we don't use it.
Is there a way of us sort of saying, "Well, we have maybe a bit of money that's spare."
I
Could we
can't at
sort
the
of
moment. I can't at the
okay,
moment because I've there will be. Oh, you can't
so
record this.
eventually no, so what I'm sort of like asking is if there's spare money available, is there any way of us getting that money across to possibly using the north side that some of the clubs could get together and say, "Well, this is how we can do this. We can put some money towards that advertising. We can do this. We can all get together and we can rotate round if there was a bit of spare money," as opposed to set of bowls, which is £400. If we're looking at 3 sets, that's £1,200.
Um,
Is there a different way of
all I can
maybe
say to you at this moment
yeah,
is tho those clubs are entitled to it in the first
yeah,
instance,
yeah,
because of the contract.
yeah.
If the clubs do not use it, then we as a county should and could, I think, either have a junior tournament. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question at this point, I'll be honest with you. But will we use the money or lose the money? I think you know my answer.
Right. Okay. No.
And it may tie up with your county programme.
Okay.
So I
Well,
can't answer that question at this point because I need to talk to the clubs.
okay. So, just in terms of now, I think that hopefully this interview will inspire the clubs to hopefully get involved in some coaching. If anybody wanted to contact you, are the clubs free to contact you, and
Yeah,
where
yeah,
are
they've
you?
got my number, they've got my phone number and my email. So it could be in the form of me just visiting them, seeing
Yeah,
what they've got, look at the locals. Another one club has asked me if I would go to the local school with them,
yeah,
with my teaching qualification, because none of them have got teaching qualifications and they're literally next to the club. So I've offered to do that. If someone wants a demonstration or to borrow the kit, which a couple of clubs are doing for open days this year, they can do that. So we've got a set at Cambridge Park. I know Winchmore Hill. I've asked them to combine to get a set, and then we've got the 200 Clids set, and we've got the Brentham set who have asked to share. And then the final bit is if they need help with coaching sessions, we've got this 6-7 week plan. What do you teach? How do you sort it all out? Just to give people confidence. But I think the most important thing is when teachers have to supervise the kids. You can't have teachers who are sitting having a coffee whilst you're coaching them. That's not right. For me as a teacher, I will want to see how my pupils react to a new situation. I'd like to see how they interact and take part yourself. I mean, that's a good example. So for me, you've got that toilet run covered, you've got the disciplinary section covered. So you know, so I'm happy to talk to anyone and travel anywhere with regards helping people.
so all your details are on the county website page?
That's right, yeah.
Well, Angie, it's been absolutely fantastic talking to you. Your insight has been great. And as I said, hopefully that more people will get involved and hopefully will get in contact with you. And thank you again for coming on and sparing your time for the podcast.